be able to be doing this and getting close to launch time. We're trying to get better
We're
at it.
only 10 minutes off.
We're only 10 minutes off this time. So if you guys got to see us earlier this week, we were on with our good friend, Mr. Chris Hennessy, and boy, was that a little bit all over the map. So, all right. Thank you for joining this evening. We got a great show for you guys lined up. Hello, my name is Gabe Leal,
And I'm Yvette Richardson.
and welcome to the Unwrap Love Show.
We pull back the layers of love and relationships.
So,
So,
buckle
buckle
up
up
for
for
love,
love, everyone.
everyone. That's right. So,
All right. So, today we are going to be talking about finances.
oof,
So yeah, it's kind of a hot topic. It's something that we've kind of talked about a little bit between us, but we still haven't merged everything and really decided what we're going to do. So we're going to talk to you guys about it as we're kind of exploring it together.
that's right. So,
So, our topic is date night or debt night
that's right.
and how to make love and money last. So a lot of couples, they struggle with this. They might have different spending styles. One might like to spend more, one spends less, one saves more, one spends more. So the spending styles can be a little bit different. And then they struggle with merging, how to decide. Are you going to have a joint account, separate accounts? What are the accounts going to look like? And then how are you going to plan for the future? What are you going to do down the road? What is money going to look like down the road? So these are all things that within a relationship, you might start talking about it early on while you're dating or kind of wait a little bit or it kind of comes here and there, but we've found through research and just kind of, some common sense knowledge that finances can be something of a bit of a conflict and can cause breakups and even divorce over finances. So I think it's a really important topic that we discuss.
Yes. And part of the reason that we wanted to dive into this subject is because just like we're talking about it this evening, we're experiencing this for ourselves, like how to do this all together as a couple. And believe me, I have thoughts on this because some of the things that we're going to touch on this evening are, you know, elements of a relationship that most people probably feel uncomfortable opening up about, especially if you've already been through a marriage before and you're divorced and you have all these traumas from your past relationships that really affect you in how to do this successfully with somebody new and getting in a relationship. I mean, in any relationship, whether you're young, old, middle aged, wherever you're at in the spectrum, um, there is quite a bit that you do have to discuss that I think that we are going down this road ourselves. So this is kind of a self teaching self lesson in what to
Yeah,
do.
he told me the topic and I was like, "Ooh, scary."
it, it is scary because like I said, a lot of it depends on certain aspects, and we're going to talk about like how you get into your backgrounds, how that plays into how you look at money and how you see money as a either a tool or you see it as a hindrance. There's some people that do see it in those terms where they don't actually like talking about money in their marriage or in their relationship because they feel it brings about sometimes the worst in people. I know it was a big part of my past relationship, so and I know it's kind of weighed in a little bit on your relationships as well. I mean, it wasn't so easy in saying, "Hey, let's just." I mean, I love love. I mean, but this is another aspect of it. I think this is another part of it that you really have to explore whenever you're talking about getting into marriage with somebody, um, diving into a relationship with somebody. Like these are things that you just can't overlook and say, "Oh, well, they'll come about whenever they do." Like I don't think that's how money and finance works. So, um, But
Yeah, especially discussing your debt because that's a touchy subject. Like,
uh,
you don't, especially when you're newly dating somebody, you don't want to be like, oh, yeah, this is my, credit score. If it's not so great, if it's good, you might not have a problem sharing it. But, if you find yourself in debt, that's harder to talk about. It is a little more risky to talk about, hey, I've kind of had some financial difficulties and I'm in debt. Because then, it could be a deal breaker for some people.
yeah, I mean, that's one of the cool things about what we get to do here is discuss these things and whether or not they've come to affect like dating aspects and that sort of thing. When somebody comes to you and like, hey, how much do you make a year? And you tell them, you're like, okay, see you later. Or they want to know like, what has been your background as far as like having debt and coming into a relationship with somebody who might have like a large amount from student loans or something. I mean, there's just so many variables. And does it change how you see that person, how it reflects upon them? Do you think that they're different simply because they have a lot more on their, on their ledger? It can be, a sticky, again, it can be a sticky subject to discuss, but I think it's one when you start talking about, uh, financial intimacy and when you're also talking about, um, just bringing together bringing together your not only your energy, but everything that involves, right? The
What are some stats that you found? Is that on the next slide you want to
Oh, yeah,
show?
yeah, yeah. Let me show you on this one because this is kind of where we were looking at. So, you want to go ahead and read it, or
Okay,
should I?
so I'll read
Okay,
it. I'll let you have a little break.
okay. Let me have a little break. That's fine. I love it.
According to a study by the National Library of Medicine, so we kind of looked up that study and saw what they researched, but basically it says that financial problems were cited as a major contributor to divorce. It was probably like the fourth or fifth thing down
Yep.
on the list by 36.7% of participants and at least one partner from 55.6% of
Over half
couples.
of the
So
couples, over half of the couples, something like that.
yeah. So, of the couples who had at least one partner endorse financial problems as a contributor to divorce, 50% represented couples in which both partners agreed that financial problems were a
Wow.
major reason for divorce.
Wow.
So, to elaborate on this issue, some participants indicated that financial difficulties were not the most pertinent reason for their divorce, but instead contributed to stress and tension. So, even with the stress and tension, some of that could have developed because of the finances.
Yeah, and I mean, when I was reading this and looking at some of the graphs and information that what I was researching, I mean, this kind of stood out as far as like over half of the people when you talk about it, and that's how I think it mirrors where divorce rates are and how people um, kind of find themselves when they get into a marriage. I mean, um, I know simply that in my own circumstances, um, it was a big hindrance in how we got along, and it was honestly part of the reason, a big part of the reason why I'm no longer in that past relationship. I mean, this was big. This was huge when it comes to um, why we were either successful or not. And money is one of those things where we're not taught about it very well unless we had parents who were like in the financial industries or were really good at handling finances. Most of us grew up without the idea of how do we manage. I mean, we're taught about mathematics and history and all these other things, but when it comes to
Budgeting?
understanding financial literacy and what that actually means, I mean, I think we're lacking. We're definitely lacking in teaching the next generation what it means to understand their FICO score and what it means to understand, why debt can be detrimental to your psychological. approach to relationships. I mean, it's a lot to take in. It really is. I mean, it's why, like I said, I put it the title there, why it matters, because love alone, and I know experiences, love alone wasn't enough to make it all work. I mean, it becomes very difficult when, you're getting past due notices or eviction notices or those sort of things. And especially the way like housing markets are these days and how rent has skyrocketed in certain areas, it's tough to make it work as a couple. So I think the communication part is pretty important. So that's why I wanted to talk about financial intimacy and fidelity and what that actually means. When we think about building, or excuse me, when we talk about building closeness with somebody, right? And togetherness, it's, well, financially speaking, it's just as important. I love this part. And it's just as important that it involves both partners being honest and open about their beliefs, behaviors, including sharing information about income, expenses, and debt and investments. Oh, I love this. But yeah, I mean, to be very transparent with your money, some people find that difficult because it's almost like giving up a part of. Some people feel it's a part of giving up control. Like some people do not like the idea of giving up their paycheck. I mean, I don't know anybody that does, but giving up the information and sharing it with your partner can be very tough to think about when you're talking about how, hey, look, this is what I make. And especially when you have somebody in a relationship that maybe the way that somebody earns income is lopsided. I mean, what if you're in a relationship and your partner earns double of what you make? How does that make you feel? Does you let your ego like stand in the way of that? Or do you like say, okay, this is what I can contribute? I think that's the way I've thought about it from my perspective of how I look at money. Because like I said, it was hard for me to really open up about it in my past with my partner. Um, because I felt like at times, man, I'm failing as a provider, and that really can, again, that weighs into the psyche of how it can lean into your relationship. And even though you are in love with that person, like I said, sometimes that issue weighs a lot and it's too much. You know, I don't know how it's affected any of your past relationships, but I know it was a big part of mine, and especially mine as I've opened up about this in my past, in past episodes and stuff. I was a single provider. I was a single income provider for a family. So handling my finances and going out and earning was very difficult because things at times were very lean and there was very little room for error. So it's scary. It can be scary, but that's why I'm trying to change and open up just like I have about everything else in my life in my past, is open up about this because um I want to be successful. I want to have great results with my next relationship because I want it to last. Just like I would hope my money would last. As long as I'm alive, I want my money and my love to be alive. So how do you do that? How do you obtain that? I think it's a lot of the principles that we share here every time that we talk. Open, honest communication. I mean, I don't know how you feel. How do you feel about that, baby? Talk to me. Tell me.
I was just waiting. You were on a
I
roll.
was. I was on a roll.
I didn't wanna interrupt any of that. You need to get it out.
I do. I needed to get it out. Oh.
Okay, so I've been working since I was 14. I've been the only provider for myself. I was a single mom. I provided for my child for 11 years. And then I got into a relationship, like a live cohabiting relationship, eventually leading to marriage. And I did not know, any kind of rules about what to do when you're, sharing money. And so all I knew was I was so independent that I didn't want to mix the money. And so I told him, like, I don't mind if we can see each other's accounts, but I don't wanna get a joint account because I didn't know what his spending was like. I knew what my spending was like. I knew that I always paid everything on time, and I didn't want anyone to just have easy access to the money I was earning. And so I was like, "No, we're gonna have separate. It's gonna be separate accounts, but if we could" Hey, Randy. If we could, have the ability to see each other's accounts, I was okay with that. Or if, he needed to transfer money or I needed to transfer money, we had that ability to do so. But I never wanted a joint account at all. So we kept it separate and it worked out okay. Like we mutually decided, kind of his side first said, "Well, let's do it like this." And I kind of agreed. But he was like, "Okay, you pay all the big bills because you get paid more." So I was like, "Okay." So I paid the rent and I paid electricity and I paid, some of the bigger bills and my car payment. And then he paid some of the smaller bills. And then he would transfer money into my account to help me with groceries. So we worked, we managed, but we didn't really talk about the future on retirement because he had his own retirement at his job. I had my own retirement at my job. So we just figured, well, once we retire, we'll both have our retirement accounts. And so that'll help us. I wanted to save and I tried to save, but it was so difficult to save with this guy. When he had extra money, he enjoyed buying, some things that he enjoyed buying and he bought it a lot and so I never argued about it and I just there was no argument over finances, but we just kind of did our own thing. He didn't tell me what I couldn't buy, I didn't tell him what he couldn't buy, and we just kind of kept it separate. So that was how it worked. But through reading what we've read just so far, just this little bit that we've read, it seems like it needs to be better than that. There needs to be more communication. There needs to be more trust, more openness. And then trying to figure out, like, how are you going to, what are you looking forward to in the future? What are you going to save and put away for the future? And then how do you work on, if you do have debt, how do you fix that or work on that? And what do you spend your money on and what do you budget? And I never did that before. So it's something that I really want to do with Gabe.
Yes, and I
So
want to do the same thing with Yvette. I mean, and that's one of it, right? Is understanding your spending styles, right? So usually in most relationships, there's two kind of individuals in a relationship. There are those that are spenders and those that are savers. Um, and the thing about either or is that there is no right or wrong way that somebody has to be inside of a relationship. Um, I think where it comes to is understanding, oh, Randy, is understanding just each other's like styles and who they are. Like I think that's a big thing to discuss. And just like in the example you gave with with your ex, uh, he got what he wanted and he spent money on what he wanted. Um, and you did the same thing, but whether, just having discussions on, what we do together, like what that is together. Because it sounds like you were married, but separate. You were still there, but you were like individual entities when it came to finances, yet you wanted to be together with everything else, which makes it very hard to really be open about everything in your relationship when there's just one little air of mystery. Like when there's just one little thing that you don't quite open up about. And, I mean, I still have a lot to reveal about myself to her. That I think that's probably the only veil that I haven't just pulled back yet with her. Um, and I think it's about high time that I did though, and let her see exactly where I stand. Um, and just put out on the cards what I have to commit to, because I'm coming from a relationship where I still have 4 kids I have to pay for. So it is at this point still a very big, um, it's a very big anchor that I carry. I don't want to say the anchor, it sounds terrible, but it's just something that I do have to take care of. As a father and as somebody who brought 4 children in the world, I still have to be able to manage to help take care of them, because it is a lot. Um, I know where I stand, wherever my feet are planted. Ha ha ha, yes. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the most secure individual when it comes to things. I still have debt that I have to take care of, because, like I said, I was a single provider, and in my past, I did not have a lot of error for I mean, a lot of margin for error. So when things did go awry, it was very difficult to navigate those waters where you literally just had a hole in your boat and you had a bucket just taking the water out and throwing it back over and doing the same thing just to try to keep afloat. So, yeah, I am not the most stable when it comes to my finances at this point. It does not mean I want to not share them. It does not mean I do not want to fix that situation. Because honestly, I do, because I think, like I said, I want my love and my money to last for the rest of my life. And I don't know how long that is. It could be tomorrow, I could be gone. It could be 40 years from now. I don't know what that is. But I do have to, but what I do know is I do have to start looking at these matters, very particularly, and how they will affect both of us, because this is a thing where both of us are involved. I know because in my past, um, I watched my father and my stepmother go through something like this, where it was very difficult for her when he passed away. And he passed away way earlier than she did. And when she was left, I mean, when he left this earth, um, she was kind of left with everything else that he'd kind of left behind. And I don't, I mean, if you love someone, I don't think that's fair to do to your partner, is to leave them like behind and go, this is life now. I guess you're going to have to figure it out because I'm not here no longer to talk about it, or, you know, help you find a solution to this. So I think it's good to nip it in the bud as quickly as possible. So I just know that, I want to be able to be more open and transparent about everything, with Yvette, because she's, I mean, love of my life. I mean, I want to spend the rest of my life with her, and she deserves it. That's the way I feel about it. So I'll share that much, I guess.
Okay, merging finances. So this is something that I struggle with because um I'm so, I guess, just independent when it comes to my money, and I know like how to balance it enough to save what I need to save, pay what I need to pay, and survive basically. I've been doing it since I moved out of my mom's house when I was 18. And so I know that I can do it on my own. And so it's really a big struggle for me to give up that control and say, well, okay, let's merge the money together. Like that's hard for me to do. But apparently that's healthy. Uh, so I was looking at this little thing that you found for us, and it says combining your finances with your partner can produce bountiful benefits to both your relationship and your overall financial trajectory. Merging money forces you to communicate more, helps you with financial goal setting, and enables you to hit investment milestones even faster. So that's to take into consideration. But it says, that being said, merging money isn't for everybody.
Yeah, I made sure.
Yeah. It requires a lot of trust, giving up individual control, and it could also potentially lead to arguments. So there's no one perfect method to manage your finances as a couple. So there's nothing that's going to be perfect. Rather, each couple should work to build a custom system that serves their situation, best matching your budget with your values. So, when you spend money as a couple, the goal is that all of those dollars be spent on the stuff that you both really value in life. So, before you create a joint budget, make sure that that you chat about your mutual and individual values because it can make things so much smoother as you combine your finances.
Yeah.
So I think like starting maybe with a savings account
Yeah. Well, it's
and
maybe,
slowly work your way into more, but yeah, it's like baby steps for me.
yeah, I think that's a big thing though in how you start bringing things together. I mean, some things take time, right? And even with us being in love the way we are, we just didn't like a week later say move in. Like let's move in with each other, right? It takes time to get to feel open and comfortable enough that you want to start sharing that world with that person. And I think it goes the same way with your finances because you put so much into it. I mean, this is what you spend, you know, apparently for a lot of people, half of their time going out to do. And no, I don't think that's the case, Randy. But yes, uh, when you open up and you start talking about love and relationships and communication and everything else, um, I do think this is part of it, what they mean. I mean, you're letting somebody into your mind mentally, you're letting them into your heart emotionally. And I think you do have to let them into your financial world just as well. Um, it's a very touchy subject. And just like it says, there's no one size fits all solution when it comes to bringing your finances together. I mean, there's a reason that like athletes and famous people and everything else when they get remarried uh they'll have prenups, right? They'll have prenuptial documents to sign. It says this is mine, and if you ever leave or we ever break apart, this is what you'll receive. Like they put a limitation on it. um and again, I mean, it's a very difficult way to have a relationship. But for some people, that's the level of comfortability they need to kind of say, okay, I can now just be who we are, and we got that out of the way. And I think for a lot of couples, opening up, especially when you've been burned in the past by another partner, by an ex spouse, by whatever, it's very difficult to say, okay, I'm ready to do this again. Um, I mean, sometimes we're more willing to gamble with our heart than we are with our finances, and you know, because I think we feel like we can recover easier if we have our finances taken care of than our own heart. And again, you when you open up and communicate with somebody, being truthful about where you stand in life in every aspect is something that I think should at least be discussed, even if you don't merge everything together. At least letting your partner know, look, man, I owe a lot of money this, or I haven't done this. I have credit card debt, or I have student loan debt, or I have medical debt that I've incurred over time. Um, these are things that, yeah, you do eventually will have to discuss and think about, because if you do get married, then you kind of get joined at the hip when it comes to some of these things. And it can be a scary proposition to say, okay, I walk into this with, things that are maybe free and clear, and I might have to walk out of here with carrying part of this debt in some circumstances if you don't discuss it first, and then you go and at least don't talk about it when you get divorced. I mean, I've never actually been divorced, so I don't know what the proceedings like as far as like where. I mean, we separated and we split our assets and we did everything that way because we were never like legally married, but we still had to do all that stuff there. We still had to like mediate all that stuff. Um, but as far as like where you like say, hey, when you leave, you take your debt with you. I mean, I don't know if there's some cases that people do that or not. Was mine is mine, and what yours is mine won't work. No, no, Randy, it's not a good theory to have when you go into a relationship with somebody or a marriage.
Yeah, and that's one positive thing I can say about my ex is that he didn't fight me for everything. Where some guys could. He didn't fight me for the house. He didn't fight me for my car. He didn't fight me for, and in Texas, you can. You can say, well, you know what? We were married, so we've got to split it. And he didn't. He let me have the house. He didn't fight me for my car, which was also in his name, even though he didn't make any payments on either one. But his name was on them, and he didn't, even fight for 50-50 custody. So because I told him, like, I really, you know, I wanted my baby as much as possible. And he was like, okay. And so he was really cool about everything, which I'm super grateful for because I've heard some horror stories of
Oh yeah.
breakups and, what they have to take from each other and just the fighting over everything. And thankfully that didn't take place
Yeah.
in my divorce. So,
And you again, you it's based on a lot of things that you deal with from how your upbringing is when dealing with money. Again, we learn by example.
mhm,
And if our parents or whoever raises us aren't good stewards of their own money, then how are we expected to be that ourselves unless we go out and purposely take the time to learn about it and figure all that out. I mean, like right now, I know like we talk about this, but I'm like somebody who's like, I want to try to pay for everything with cash, and because
I like to pay it with credit and then I pay it off. So like I have 2 credit cards and one of them I get cash back. So I'm like, yeah, so I spend it and then I pay it off. Spend it, pay it off. I've been doing that for years. And so it's built up my credit really well. And then my other one I get miles. And so I'm like, okay, well I have like, I don't know, 35,000 something or something like that miles. And so I build up my cash and then I build up my miles and then my credit goes up. And so that's how I work it.
yeah, and I think I think we'll learn how to merge styles because, like I said, I've had bad experiences, and that's just due to uh my own inability to handle the things that I needed to at the time. So I was like, well, if I pay for it cash, I know that I'll never have to worry about the risk involved with it. And I was somebody who, I mean, I was somebody who was like, I really, when I got into financial literacy and wanted to study it, I got into really deep into Dave Ramsey, and he's all about like trying to live your life debt free. Um, and I think I'm learning that there's a happy medium between the two. Um, because I think you also have to take into account things like risk that you might not be accounting for. You might not account for, but I
Mhm.
also think that you do have to live in a world where sometimes it is based off of what your credit score is, and if you don't understand how that operates, then you can be you can find yourself in trouble. And there are things like even in today's even in today's like financial world, it's very difficult to just say I'm going to pay for everything cash. And there's some people, like I said, that it works for them. Like Randy's like, hey, I'm a Dave Ramsey student. You kind of know, but I'm
Mhm.
also understanding that there are other tools that you can use to manage your money and doing things like sometimes using your house, using other assets that you spend a lot of money into as a tool to help you like maximize the opportunity for equity. I mean, it's again, like I said, there's so much to learn about. That's why like I want to have a discussion with another couple that I that we're familiar with, at the Angelique and Donnell. They talk about this all the time in dealing how to use sometimes debt as a tool. Um, which I've never, I don't have anything against that. I'm more willing to want to understand and learn what that actually is and see if it can actually benefit. I'm always open to opportunity. I don't think, like I said, even in what I was reading tonight, there is no right or wrong way. there is no right or wrong way to how do you approach
Mhm.
money. Some people make money one way, people make money another. There are just different ways to do this. Um, but it kind of leads into where I wanted to talk about next because, like I said, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. So if we're going to do that, we have to also plan for it. I mean, it's a long term thing, and I don't like you said when you were talking about you and your ex, you guys didn't sit down and talk about this.
Mm-mm.
I didn't sit down and talk about this with my ex, so this is going to be another first for
Mm.
us. We've had a
Mhm.
lot of firsts in our year, coming up on a year relationship. Um,
Only a few days away from a year.
yeah, that's right.
Mhm. Sunday, we're gonna be
Sunday
here.
is an actual 1 year um, that we've actually been together. But part of how I wanted to approach being different with Yvette was doing the things that I didn't do or wanted to do in my past. So is to approach them with a different mindset, with a different perspective on them. And right or wrong, or ever how it comes out, at least it comes out and it's discussed and it's shared and there's nothing to hide. I mean, that was part of it. I was very bad at that. I became a very secretive person because of that. And I hate keeping secrets. I don't like it. It makes you feel terrible inside. Um, and especially when you're hiding stuff from your partner. I mean, you shouldn't have to. But I was still young. I was still learning about who I was. And once you start doing it, it's hard to break that cycle. I'm gonna tell you, it's hard to like hide things and just come up with excuses, and instead of just putting it all out on the table, even though you're saying, be honest with me, is if you're somebody who's non-confrontational, you're not gonna want to do that. You're not gonna have that like conversation. So yeah, I was a little bit different.
So, how we're gonna celebrate Randy is he has a whole day planned, which he's not like he said, he's learning not to be secretive. So he can't even surprise me. Like he tells me everything. So I already know what we're doing on Saturday, but I like to keep like surprises secret. So I got him stuff, but I'm not telling him what it is. So he doesn't know. But yeah, so we're going to the spa and get couples massages. Then we're gonna go
That's how
to
we're starting the day. That's
yeah, that's starting in the morning. And then we're gonna go to a wine tasting at the Arboretum.
yes.
Then we're gonna go to a hotel in downtown.
Uh-huh.
And then we're gonna go to a carriage ride.
Well, we're gonna go to dinner
Oh,
first
dinner. I forgot dinner.
at the place where we actually had our very first
First
date.
date.
So
Yes.
we're going there to kind of, revisit the very beginning of how it all started. And then,
Then our carriage ride.
yes.
And then hotel, and then we're getting up early in the morning. We gotta be at church because, we volunteer, and so I'm going to be doing the photography at the church on Sunday
And I'm
morning.
going to help her.
Yes.
Tacos, maybe.
No,
No,
it's a Italian
Italian,
restaurant,
Italian restaurant, Randy.
St. Rocco's.
That's right. Check it out. It's a nice place. Pretty swanky. I mean, again, I'm just somebody who, again, I want to be very transparent in a lot of things with her. Um, and you know what? I think it also helps me learn what it means to just share everything that I need to share and be honest about it. And Randy said I did photography last weekend.
Ooh, you do photography, Randy?
Ooh,
What'd you take pictures of?
he said I did photography last chicken marsala.
Of your chicken marsala?
Okay, nice. But one of the things, like I said, where we're moving forward with, and one of the things that I think will help in our own situation is, I wanted to talk about like planning for the future. I mean, that's one thing where we both have not kind of had that experience with our partners in the past. And if we're going to spend our golden years together, it is understanding what retirement looks like for us. Um, what how we manage now will determine how good of a lifestyle we have down the road. I mean, 10, 15 years down the road. I mean, even though it looks like it's far away, it really is not. I mean, 10 years ago by like this, and all of a sudden you're standing upon the precipice of saying, man, I am close to the time for me to either retire or understand that, I can't handle the workload that I used to. Like things just happen and shift in your life. And it's better to be prepared. That's why we're taking care of our health now so that down the road we can enjoy living the life that we want to. And I think it's the same thing with um, how we love each other and then how we talk about our finances. So planning is a big, big thing that we really are going to sit down and talk about because we got to figure out a game plan. I mean, again, we're not doing it willy nilly. Oh,
Cane
Black
River.
Bayou, WR, Black
What's
Bayou,
newer?
NWR.
Newer. What's newer?
I don't know. NWR. Can kind of elaborate?
Never wrong.
But that leads to like what you know,
One.
talking about a few things. Um, is making a saving as a plan for our retirement, and using tools that we already have access to. Like I have to go. Like we're about to start discussing this at my job. Is setting up a 401k. Oh,
Reserve. Oh.
National Wildlife Reserve. Okay, nice.
So you have to do what at your job?
So we're gonna start discussing a 401k because we got bought out recently. So we have to. That's gonna open up all over again. So now it's gonna be a good time to sit down and talk about like financial goals and what I want to do. Um, and then how it relates to our when we sit down and talk about our like retirement goals, like what it is that we want to do. When we get to that point where we can start enjoying our lives as empty nesters and see what adventures and everything how to manage our lifestyle to that point where we can enjoy our golden years. I don't want to have to say I have to go to work every day. It would be nice to say I have the option to go to work if I want to.
Mhm.
So I think that's one of them is just saving and planning for retirement as a shared priority. Like she's already has a retirement already going. Um, but I think it's also like understanding what that is. I mean, other than looking at a sheet of paper and going, what am I looking at? I know I have a retirement, but do we really understand what that means? Like how my money really growing? Is it maximizing? Like I think that's one thing we should have a discussion on um, down the road. I mean, not too far down the road, but we do have to have a talk about that. Um, and then the next is just what are our objectives are going to be financially down the road to achieve them. I mean, how can we work together to make it happen? If it's like, hey, I want to buy an RV and travel the world, or travel the world, but travel the country, that'd be hard to do.
We'll get on a
Get
ferry.
on a ferry, yeah, a 23-hour ferry across to England. No, well, I mean, around the country, right? Like, what if that's the thing you want to do? How do you get to that? Like, what are the things you do, and you have to discuss as a couple? Um, because you are going to have to look at things and say, can we compromise here, or do we have to compromise? Maybe, maybe not. Um, and really set down a plan of action for yourselves and see if you can do that. But I don't think I can. I don't think I can run that far. Well, I know, but that's a scary thing to think about if you've never even done that. I mean, there's some people and they're like, again, I'm in my fifth. I'm about to be 50. Okay, I know. Yeah, I know. I don't look it maybe, but I am going to be about half a century here this year. And to sit here and go, man, I don't have a very a very elaborate retirement plan for myself. When you look at the standard age of retirement, I'm only looking down the barrel about 15 years from now. So, yeah, it should be high time that I talk about that and sit down and discuss it with you because again, um, you're somebody I want to spend the rest of my life with, and I think, like I said, you're deserving of it to be that honest and open about it, and then also, um, you know, again, what happens? You don't ever want it to happen. What happens when one spouse departs this earth before the other? Um, how do you leave your spouse? Like, how do you leave your partner as far as financially? Are they going to be able to like maintain the lifestyle that they're at? Or they're going to have to make a lot of adjustments? Or, do they have to move out? I mean, there's just so many variables you have to really discuss and talk about. Um, so I think that's one of them that hope, um, I hope that we can like find a pretty good solution on and work towards it. Cause I think we're pretty good at working together, making things kind of happen for each other.
Yes, I agree.
So, um, I think that leads. Well, I'm already down. kind of
You've
like,
yeah, you've covered my section too.
yeah, kind of did. Got
It's
excited.
okay.
You can talk about number three though. I mean, that's important. I think.
You already talked about that.
What no?
Don't keep secrets.
All about money.
Yeah.
Like, there's some people that have secret accounts. I know people have talked about it. Like, there's guys at work that says, "Yeah, man, I got like 3 or 4 grand my wife don't know about."
Mm.
How would you feel about that? I mean, um, especially when you've been with somebody, say like 15, 20 years,
Mhm.
and you're like, "Hey, well, I got side money somewhere."
Oh, yeah.
Um, I mean,
Unless you're planning on leaving.
but
That's like
that looks like it leaves a
yeah.
foundation, or it leaves a thought process that maybe that you have doubts somewhere.
Mhm.
Like, you have doubts about where you're at in your relationship, and um, when do you YouTubers know it's time to retire? I was done drinking for good, so until then, get a decent 401k plan, insurance. I'm drinking for evil. Oh no, 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 Randy, don't do that. Please don't do that. But yeah, I mean, and when you talked about being open about everything and being transparent about sharing all aspects of your life, I mean, I think there's some people that go, "Oh yeah, I share." Like, they'll say, "I let her read my text and stuff. Like, she's got the key to get in my phone and look at everything." But yet you don't let her see like your bank account, or that you even have a separate bank account, because you're like, "Oh, I don't go that far. Like, I don't trust her that much." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa!" Like, I think, there's a deeper unresolved issue there when you're like, I gotta hide stuff from her. I don't trust her because she's gonna spend my money. I've heard that before. I've heard guys say it at work before. I go, man, I don't ever want to be there. I would rather just have everything, especially when I've been with somebody that long. I'd rather, like, again, I know because I did it in my past. So if I go back to the things in my past, I'm just falling back into the things that I did not like about it, and I did not like about myself. I do not want to revisit that. Like I said, I need things to be different this time around. I need to be different. So how am I going to do that? I have to do the things that maybe might not be I might be uncomfortable with at this point, until I do become comfortable with it. Right? I mean, those are things that's how we learn from each other. That's how we learn. I mean, we do things differently, and hopefully the results that are just as different. Like, I just being able, like, for an example, um, when you open up to me, right? When you share things with me, um, I know you've even mentioned it here on the show before, that it was a hard thing for you in the past to do that. And learning what that is and becoming more comfortable with it over time, it will be second nature to be able to say, I can say this now and not even have it to be an issue. Um, So I think it's the same way with for me at least it is going to be for money and just being able to share the things openly this way because I saw the same thing destroy what my mother and father had because I know I interviewed my mom and these were some of the things and I looked at those things and I said, "Man, I am just committing the sins of my father." Same exact path. And if I don't like the way that things turned out, and not that he was a bad parent, not that he was a bad father, he was great for what he could and for who he was. Awesome. I'm different. So I got to be different. So I got to take a different path. And I think that's where this is important for me to share and to talk about because I don't want to be that way, especially not with not with you, not with you. You know,
That's good. I'm glad you said that.
on you. So
All
yeah,
right, so tell me how much money you make. We can do
uh,
that later.
I may. Oh, if you want to know, so that's how much I make. So there you go, folks. Now you know. Public. It's public now. So sorry. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm messing with y'all. Come on, we're having a little fun here. You're lucky I don't have my little bleep sounder that I would have said it. I've done that before too, where um, I've had a little running joke where I go, "Okay, guys, you ready for the secret of life? Get your pens out. This is it. I'm going to tell you now and tell it to you once. That's it. I'm not going to say this again. But the secret
And
to life is
he's not even talking out loud.
you're giving the gag away. You're giving the gag away. That's how you do it, though. That was always fun. And I go, that's it. I turn my mic back on. I say, I don't even want to. I feel exhausted after saying that. I don't want to even discuss it anymore. So I always have my own bank account since I got burned the first time. Oh, Randy. We got to talk to you, man. We got to have you on and tell and have you open up about the enigma that is Randy House. Because you are an enigma. So side money equals change in your pocket. Well, but yes, that's just how I feel about, you know, money and how, I mean, this is just not going to be an open and shut topic. It's something that has to be revisited because it's like if you're going to be sharing why your lives are important together, and I think it does involve talking about your money. I mean, you have to, at least in, where did my
What?
thing go?
Are you ready for closing statements?
Yeah. So we can talk about our closing statement here if you would like. Do you want to open to share that?
Sure.
I've been talking a lot tonight. I've been
You have. Well, he did prepare the whole entire thing while I was in the other room doing my homework. So I'm just like, take
Well,
the wheel.
there's some nights she takes the wheel a lot more than I do. I've had people comment like, "Oh my god, there's somebody that talks more than Gabe." And I'm like, "No, I mean, she, when she's not when she's a lot more knowledgeable about something, I sit back and observe and marvel. I mean, you watch somebody do their thing. It's pretty nice. It's pretty incredible to watch. So go ahead and I guess you can close it out.
So basically, we talked about love and money and lots of Gabe's money,
Yes, lots of my money.
which is a powerful combination that can either strengthen your relationship or put a strain on it. So it's real important that there is open communication, that you guys share your goals, that you find common ground when it comes to finances. And then remember that there isn't a one size fits all approach to it. So you don't have to do the same thing somebody else does. But by talking openly, building your trust together, and working together, you can create a financial foundation that supports your love and helps your relationship thrive. And that's what our goal is as a couple. We've officially almost been together for 1 solid year, and so it's time to move on to the adventure of money. And so we do pretty well with it without really, like, discussing, the whole, like, how much we make or, how we're gonna say we haven't really had some deeper conversations about it, but we've kinda surface level talked about it and, he helps when he can, I pay things, he pays for things, like, he's always willing to, and so, we balance out. We do good in that area. It's not like, just one person doing everything. But getting more into the open communication about the whole ins and outs of it is something that we will be working on.
Yeah,
So,
big time, big time. I think it's a big thing because this was one of the biggest fears that I had in getting into another relationship with somebody is because it's not as easy to jump into something with somebody and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, I got 4 kids." That's a lot. Like, that takes a lot from you. And that is a lot of time that goes into it.
yeah, I told my sister, and she was like, no way." I was like, "You wouldn't date a guy with 4 kids?" She goes, "Oh, no."
No.
So, yeah, there are a lot of
Well, I
women
said,
that
she's amazing. I mean, I tell her every day, how amazing she is. So yeah, they're going to celebrate. That's right. Eats Italians and can whoa. No, I don't think that. But we are going to be riding, I guess, to the city, not on a donkey, but on a
we're
carriage,
gonna
a horse, with a horse drawn. I mean, a
horse-drawn carriage.
horse-drawn carriage, so it should be nice. Should be good weather. Hope, come on, big man, like good weather. Let us have a
It's
good day.
nice weather today.
Yes. So if it maintains this way throughout the weekend, should be pretty awesome.
So, what show did you prepare for us for next week?
I think this one's a doozy because it does also have to do with us. So, um,
Love Bloomin'.
mhm. You want to read it?
Families Blend, a guide to merging families and new relationships. I like that. It's a good topic.
It is a good topic because it's something that we're experiencing now. I mean,
Mhm.
um, we had to broach this subject last year because I did end up moving in with Yvette. Um, and part of that was like making understanding that now, I'm going to be bringing, my kids over on.
Yeah, we managed to figure out how to fit 5 kids in one room.
Had to be pretty creative because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, heck, we're outnumbered. We, we got how many other people here? We got
My
two,
brother, his girlfriend comes over a lot, and then my daughter and her boyfriend,
so four, and then when all my kids are here,
and
and
mine
you're
is 5.
it's five,
That's 9, and then 10, 11.
11 of
Me and
us,
you. So 11 of us
11 of
on
us,
all together.
and then 2 cats, a dog, and a bird. Wow,
Yes.
we got a lot going on. So yeah, it's gonna be in the 80s.
Yee.
Nice. That would be very good if it stays that
Nice.
way. But yeah, I mean, man, I am uh I'm just so floored over this last year because um this will be the last show we do before we actually celebrate our 1 year anniversary. And it's been pretty incredible that I've got the opportunity to not only meet this beautiful woman, but then to bring her into my world and bring her to meet you guys and like merge my worlds. It was like I brought I have 4 kids of my own, and then I have like however many kids come in and tune in every time we have these shows. I mean, Randy's like another adopted kid, even though he's single and his old thing. But I have plenty of other kids that come along for the whole journey. So her being open to taking all this in, um, It's been pretty amazing, and it's why I love this woman dearly with all my heart. And like I say, I'm blessed every day, and I try to make sure I communicate that to her. And that's why I say it's deserving. She's deserving of me opening up about all the other things in my life, because um, if I'm going to be, you know, open about my emotions, and I'm going to be open about, my traumas and all the things in my past, this is part of it too. This is part of Gabe. It doesn't get separated just because there's a dollar sign attached to it. Is your sister single? All right. I guess, how about your
Yeah,
sister?
you don't have any kids, right, Randy, that are young?
No kids, I don't think. Not that
My
he
s
not that
my
he
s
knows of.
Yeah, my older sister is 50. So she's or 51, 51? Yeah, she's 51. She just had a birthday. So she's 6 years older, and yes, she is single.
There you go, Randy. Might
Yes,
come on, make a little
she's
connection.
single and ready to mingle.
There you go. So that'll be next Thursday's shows. We're going to be talking about best thing to be an open book. It's like, nope. Oh, no to what? No to having.
Oh, he doesn't have kids that are
Oh,
young.
okay. Then, yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. You're good. You'll be the perfect kind of candidate. We'll put you on the list.
Yep, she knows how to ballroom dance.
So, yeah, maybe you know how to ballroom dance, or maybe you're willing to learn. That could be a thing. Okay. I guess we can end the show now. You want to go ahead and
Sure.
end it out?
So may your life be
Filled
filled with laughter,
sparks
sparks,
and
and
genuine
genuine
connection.
connections. And remember, love is a beautiful journey. So
So keep
keep
unwrapping it with open hearts and
an
open
open mind.
minds. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/at unwrap love. We always love it when you guys head over there, when you hit the subscribe button, get the notifications whenever we go live.
Yeah, we wanna get more than how many do we have now?
25.
We have
25.
25, so we're pushing for 30 now.
We're fishing for 30. That's right. We'll get there. We'll eventually grow. But yeah, if you're not, or recommend it to a friend, share them, tell them, hey, you want to learn about dating, money, life, relationships, good stuff. Send them to the Unwrap Love Show YouTube channel. Okay. Do you got anything else to say, baby? Anything else you might want to add?
I wanna tell you something special.
Okay. Tell me.
I'm so in love with you.
I'm so in love with you, baby.
Come here.
Mwah. Y'all guys got a double kiss tonight. All right. Sign your wayward son, Randy House. Okay. Thank you, Randy. We do appreciate you. And to anybody
Thank
else,
you,
anybody who
Randy.
watches on the replay, thank you again so much. So I guess we won't be doing Love Talk because we will be celebrating our anniversary. So until next Thursday, I guess we'll see you guys then. So
All right. Bye,
have a wonderful
everybody.
night. Okay.
Good night.
Or should I?
Say your future
Oh,
brother-in-law.
God. Boy, what a life would that be if, like, hey, this is
I
your brother-in-law.
know.
It's like, well, funny story about that one. He was kind of, I don't even go there. All right. You guys have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everybody.